Can you believe it's been about a month since I've reviewed NXT? It's about time I hop back over onto the yellow team, innit? What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your September 28th, not SmackDown, I missed SmackDown. That's what happens when you misspeak. This is your September 28th NXT review. Apologies to you guys, I had a little bit of a work outing to do last night, ended up going later than I thought. Didn't really see SmackDown, but I will say they are doing a lot to lead up into the go-home SmackDown for No Mercy, and that looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. John Cena on Talking Smack, also, hate to say it, much more impressive than I would expect from John Cena. The little cat and mouse game between Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton I could have done without, but that's another thing for another day. This week started off with William Regal talking about the passing of Dusty Rhodes and last year's Dusty Tag Team Classic, announcing that it will not only be back this year, but the finals will be at NXT TakeOver Toronto, which means I will be in Section 100 to see the finals of the Dusty Classic, which is an incredible... It's an interesting thing, though, because you can see a title match, you can see, you know, a stipulation match, you can see a main event, you can see a title change, but something like the Dusty Classic, it's got a little bit of a different feel, a little bit of that, like, once in a great while type feeling to it, so that's very, very exciting. The first thing I know for sure, I will be seeing that TakeOver Toronto / Survivor Series weekend, so that is really cool. We started off with Ty Dillinger versus Angelo Dawkins. Angelo Dawkins, not somebody that's really got my attention. He's got the dual headband gimmick, and apparently his nickname is the Curse of Greatness, which I could do without, to say the least. But Ty Dillinger is somebody I like. This is a relatively short match. We've got some chain wrestling to start. A snapmare by Ty Dillinger, right hand by Dawkins, and corner chops by I was going to say Ziggler, which applies to what I'm going to say in a little bit. But Dillinger, right hand by Dawkins, chops by Dillinger. They trade blows, forearm shot by Dillinger, atomic drop, clothesline by Dillinger, and some mudhole stomps and a leg sweep. And he hits the tiebreaker, which is that sort of Death Valley Driver over the knee thing that AJ Styles was doing for a while, but he calls it the tiebreaker, Ty Dillinger. It's corny, but it works. What we had afterwards was even better. It was Bobby Roode coming out saying, "I've known you for a long time." They're both Canadian. Roddy Roddy Rah. I came here to achieve amazing things in NXT, like winning the Dusty Classic, but I can't do that by myself. And before he can even get the words out, the NXT crowd at Full Sail, who usually get a bad rap because, you know, they actually participate in the show, isn't that a funny thing? But they started chanting Glorious 10, and Glorious 10, Glorious 10. Bobby Roode refers to their new tag team as Perfectly Glorious, and they're going to be in the Dusty Classic. In the back, we get an interview with Hideo Itami, who talks up his opponent tonight, Lince Dorado, and talks down Austin Aries, talking about the fact that his opponent tonight, Lince Dorado, has a lot of heart, unlike his opponent, I'm assuming, at TakeOver Toronto, which will make me very, very, very excited and happy and selfish like that. It's kind of cool. Main event tonight is going to be Hideo Itami versus Lince Dorado. I think from the looks of it, and I don't entirely mind this, it looks like Raw and NXT are sort of sharing the cruiserweight talents, because on Raw, the cruiserweight people from the CWC are literally fighting each other. On NXT, they're intermingling with the NXT stars, so everybody that needs to be introduced to the main roster is all mingling together. And I do like it, and I think, as we're going to talk about later on, the pairing of Hideo Itami and Lince Dorado is a very interesting pairing. What I did want to say about Ty Dillinger, and why I accidentally said Dolph Ziggler, I'm really glad they're giving Ty Dillinger some wins and some momentum going forward. I have heard some rumors as to how this Bobby Roode Ty Dillinger thing is going to go that I'm not going to get into here, but I will say that Ty Dillinger I was referring to for a long time. I referred to Tyler Breeze sort of the same way when he was on NXT. I was really worried about guys like this becoming the Dolph Ziggler of NXT. Really, really good, can make his opponents look really, really great, but that means they're going to keep using him for that. And I think Ty Dillinger got used to make a lot of other people that are now in better places look great, and I really didn't want to see him get lost in the shuffle. The fact that he's getting, you know, he's building a, I don't know, I guess a report card of smaller wins on NXT could mean that they're going to pull him out of that NXT Ziggler role, which is really good because this guy could do a lot. It was said at one point, before Cody Rhodes asked for his release, that Cody Rhodes, Ty Dillinger, and Tyler Breeze were going to be sort of like a pretty boy stable on Raw. Now, while I don't want to see that gimmick per se, it's like the Breezango thing. You guys have heard me talk about Breezango quite a bit. I love the team. I hate the gimmick because the gimmicks are way overdone and they're a bit cartoony. But as a team, they're great. As a unit, they're great. And as two individual talents in the ring, they're great. So the tag team could be amazing. It's kind of like the New Day, now that I think of it, because you got three talented guys in the ring. They work as a unit well in the ring. Shed the gimmick, it could be good. If they divided New Day a little bit, like got rid of Big E goes somewhere else, and New Day was just Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, I would love to see those two versus Breezango. I would love to see somebody like a Ty Dillinger go up to the main roster and square off with like a TJ Perkins, or go to SmackDown and face off against a Dolph Ziggler. So it's really cool to see that he's turning it around. We get a what was supposed to be a tag team match with the Ely brothers, who are two tall, plain-looking twins, and they have the distinction of being the first twins to come out of the new Performance Center. Now, up until recently, I would have compared that to the Usos and said, well, let's just see how well twins go. But WWE's finally doing something good with the Usos, so I can't make that comparison. These guys just look like Norman Smiley on stilts ×2. But it's okay, because they were supposed to fight the Revival. They didn't get to fight the Revival. Samoa Joe came in no short order and destroyed both of them. Revival, who didn't even make it halfway down the ramp, were like, all right, well, we'll see you later, guys. Bye. And they peaced out. Samoa Joe gets on the mic, yells at Regal, who's not there, said these will be the first two victims and the beatings will continue until you bring me Nakamura or the title. Short, sweet, to the point, just like most Samoa Joe stuff is. We see a video package that we saw last week for a guy named Dan Matha. I would love to be excited, but all the video promo is various camera shots of the guy showing us how big he is. And that's it. I don't know what to say about that. But next up, we have the first of two women's division matches here on NXT tonight. I don't know why I'm stumbling. I'm very, very tired. It's still very, very warm, and I still don't have an air conditioner that works. So I do apologize, but this review probably doesn't reflect how good and how much fun this show actually was. Mandy Rose versus Ember Moon. Ember Moon, we know, debuted at the last TakeOver in Brooklyn. Really, really good. She's got that top rope stunner, which Guapo was nice enough to tell me about ahead of time, which is fucking fantastic. The entrance, the production value, the ambiance that they've taken the time to give this girl is absolutely great. I haven't seen her anywhere else. Apparently her name was Athena in other companies. Cool. If anybody has anything else on that they want to tell me, obviously put it down in the box below, as I usually say. But Mandy Rose, who is apparently being referred to as the Golden Idol, etc., the Golden Goddess, whatever. Mandy Rose was getting cheered to fuck in this match, which is good. Anyways, the match goes on like this. Big shoving match to start, and big forearm by Mandy, because you figure she comes out, she's all in gold, she's got the blonde, she's kind of like the remnants of what a Kelly Barbie doll diva appearance-wise was. So you figure she's not gonna bring the fight, as they say. She comes in, nice, stiff forearm shot to Ember Moon to set the pace for the match. Kitchen sink and a fallaway slam by Moon. Springboard crossbody by Moon. Spin kick and a bicycle kick style knee strike to Ember Moon in the face. Arm lock neck vice combination by Mandy. It looked like it was going to be an abdominal stretch, but it sort of turned into a neck vice this way and an arm bar this way, and not something I can really put a name to, as you guys know. Ember Moon goes for the head scissor, which Mandy Rose turns into a wheelbarrow facebuster that looked not fun. Mandy eats the turnbuckle, though, and gets the top rope stunner by Ember Moon. Ember Moon, as I said at the beginning of the match, is the one that got all the hype. She's the one that got... I mean, Mandy Rose, let's be real, debuted in a 6-woman tag, along with Carmella and Alexa Bliss and a couple of other people. They didn't hype her up, so they're not putting the focus on her right now. The focus is on Ember Moon. Look, like I say, look at the music they give her, look at the entrance they give her, look at the ambiance and the hype they put behind her. They've given her a very unique look. They're letting her go with a little more of a risky move than they do let some of the women do in the women's division on NXT or on Raw. But at the same time, I'm glad that this wasn't a squash match. I'm glad that this wasn't a squash match, and this is why what they're doing with Nia Jax on Raw doesn't work. If somebody's a jobber and you go in and you squash a jobber, you haven't really achieved anything. It shows us what you can do, but you haven't done it to anybody of any value, so it really doesn't raise your stakes, so to speak. This one, we had enough, and it was good, solid offense from Mandy Rose, which, like I say, because she's got the kind of the Barbie doll look, you don't really expect. So it's like, oh, look what she can do. And then, oh, look, Ember Moon beat her. This is how you build somebody. And like I say, the sort of creepy vampire kind of vibe that Ember Moon has is something we really don't have. We have guys like Bray Wyatt, like I say, who's sort of like the cult leader, manipulator type thing. But we really don't have, unless you want to equate her with Finn Balor, we really don't have a supernatural character right now, and it's been a long time. Go back to the days of Ariel, where that supernatural character was a female. I think it's a really good thing, and on top of that, she's a fantastic athlete, and she's got a new and a different look. She's just something so different. She's a lot of fun. Mandy Rose, I want to see a bit more from. I haven't really formed an opinion yet, if I'm completely honest, but fantastic. This was one of the best matches of the night. Ciampa and Gargano are in the back. Yeah, I rambled on that a lot, sorry. Ciampa and Gargano in the back, they're talking about their list of things to do. They want to win the Dusty Classic. They want to beat up the Revival because the Revival are dicks, rah-de-rah-de-rah. And they finally want to pick up the tag team titles that they've been working together for a while. Which is good. Which is all good. If these guys get featured prominently in the Dusty Classic, or become tag team champions, or get moved to the main roster, anything. Anything. They did a big thing on WWE.com, and unfortunately the video wouldn't load for me for any particular reason. But apparently they did a big following Gargano around for the last of his indie wrestling dates. So I'm taking that to mean that if he's completely pulling himself from indie stuff altogether, that they're going to do put some more weight behind him, like he's more officially an NXT guy, or that they're not going to be in NXT for that long. They did go back to the Cruiserweight Classic and talk a bit about that. Their match that they had at the Cruiserweight Classic finale against whoever they fought. I don't remember, if I'm completely honest. But using that match to send a message to the Revival, using that match to send a message to the participants that we don't know yet. We're going to get the bracketology for that next week. But using that match at the Cruiserweight Classic to send messages to your opponents going forward, be it in the title hunt, be it at the Dusty Classic, which, as I say, once again, is going to end in Toronto at TakeOver Toronto, which I'm going to be at. So yes, selfishly, I'm very excited about that. The Authors of Pain squashed some jobbers, which is no big deal. They're tiny guys. I really want to care about the Authors of Pain, and they are starting to impress me a little bit. The matches are going a little bit longer. They're still squash matches, but it's that whole, I'm a giant, I'm going to have some fun before I pin you type of longer. But we finally got a promo from Paul Ellering. And here's what I like. People shit on the NXT crowd a lot, and people were very, very upset when Paul Ellering showed up in NXT. And a couple of people in the Full Sail audience were chanting, "Who are you?" at Paul Ellering. Now this was cool, because as he started to talk, people started doing the what chant, which is bullshit, really, because Paul Ellering, Hall of Famer, brought us the Legion of Doom, etc. But as they were whatting, other people in the crowd, and you could hear it because NXT is such a small crowd, were shushing them. So the fans were sort of policing themselves to not be dickbags, which is cool, and I really like that, and I really got to take my hat off to the productive portion of the Full Sail audience in that. The promo wasn't very much. You know, first you saw the debut, now you felt the pain, and that's all you need to know right now, is basically what you heard from Paul Ellering. The names for the two guys, Occam and Razor, they're a little bit cliche, like I say, but it's all good. we see William Regal in the back, and Buddy Murphy and Wesley Blake have gotten together as a tag team for the 100th time. They continue to be useless, but even them continuing to be useless, just makes me laugh at this point, so I can't hate on it that much. They are terrible. I don't have any other words. Liv Morgan versus Asuka was something I was looking forward to from last week. Now, this was, in all intents and purposes, a squash match. I've got two lines for this. There's a collar and elbow tie-up, there's a shoving match, another collar and elbow tie-up. They trade some forearms. Liv Morgan goes for a drop kick, which Corey Graves on commentary was great with, because he's like, it's not very often that you consider somebody's offensive move a bad idea. Asuka knocks her down, doesn't even go for any of the typical Asuka, trademark offense, doesn't go for any of her finishers, just puts on a bog standard armbar that kind of looked like a lazier version of Becky Lynch's disarmer. Quick win in like 2 minutes. Now, I am not a fool. I am not a delusional person. I know there's no way at this point in time that Liv Morgan is going to get a victory over Asuka. There's no way at this particular moment that Liv Morgan is going to become the NXT Women's Champion. But go back to what I said in the first match, where Ember Moon was clearly the one they're putting the focus on, but Mandy Rose got to get in there, show what she can do, make a name for herself, show that she's not a pushover, show that she's not there to play the jobber role. I really wish that they had given that opportunity to Liv Morgan tonight, because I personally think Liv Morgan is a lot of fun as a character. Is she the best? Absolutely not. Does she have a lot of room to grow and develop and, shake off the green? Absolutely. But she's got the crowd, because the crowd does cheer for her. In a match with Asuka, who everybody loves and respects, she was getting cheered for. So I hope the next time, and yes, she will get destroyed by Asuka again if she tries again, but I hope she gets a couple good shots in next time. I hope we build her. I hope that once Asuka goes to the main roster, Liv Morgan is one of the central characters in NXT going forward. I equate her, and I mean, it's very interesting to say because she's a babyface, but I equate her with Alexa Bliss, really, because Alexa Bliss was my girl on NXT for a while. When we lost the Becky Lynches and the Sasha Bankses and the Charlottes and the Paiges and the Emmas and everybody else, there was a good solid period of time where I was excited but frustrated with somebody like an Alexa Bliss, because here's this great character, and I shit you not, Alexa Bliss, when she was on NXT, was the best heel on NXT. Go ahead, tell me I'm crazy, I'm waiting for it down in the comment section below. But she, resting bitch face, absolutely every like bitchy girl you ever went to high school with and wanted to slap around if it was socially acceptable was Alexa Bliss. And she was fucking great, and she was underrated, and she never, ever, ever got a chance to hold the NXT Women's Championship. Side note, this is why I love the women's title match at No Mercy. You've got Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss, the two missed opportunities of the NXT Women's Division. Oh yes. That's another story for another time. But basically, Liv Morgan is that girl for me right now. She's nothing like Alexa Bliss, but she's fitting into that same category for me. I really hope they give her a chance to grow and don't just have it so that Asuka's up here and everybody else is down here. Because if that's the case, as great as Asuka is, and she is, believe me, why are we going to care about any of the matches that she's in if it's a foregone conclusion? We're not going to get my other dream match anytime soon. Gail Kim is not going to come over from TNA, which is apparently going to be renamed when Billy Corgan buys it to something else. So, Gail Kim's going to be the Smashing Pumpkin Wrestling's champion. She could come over to NXT. She could have such great matches with Asuka. I think that's just too good to be true, to be honest with you, but I'm veering far from the point. Obviously, Asuka was going to dominate here. Obviously, they needed a 2-minute match here because the next match is long. But nice to see Liv Morgan. Nice to see 2 women's matches on the show in an hour. Lot of good shit. I want to see them go at it again. I want to see them, and yes, at the risk of sounding completely repetitive and redundant, I want to see them fight again where Liv Morgan gets a better shot in. Going forward, we do get the very first match of the Dusty Classic for next week announced, and it's Andrade Cien Almas teaming with the CWC's Cedric Alexander to take on the Revival. Now, if they win, if they beat the Revival next week in the first bracket of the Dusty Classic, does that not also put them in line for a tag team title shot? And that's, yeah. I don't understand the champions being in the Dusty tournament, because anybody that beats them should get a shot at the titles immediately. And you don't want them to go all the way through and win the tournament, because why do they need it? They've already got the belts making them look good. The trophy should make somebody else look good. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword having the tag team champions in the tournament, but I do understand that at the same time, you can't exactly have a tournament highlighting your tag team division and leave the champions out. So that's a bit rough. Andrade Cien Almas and Cedric Alexander is a very random team. I expect they won't win. I can't wait to see who Ty Dillinger and Bobby Roode face in the first round, and that's the end of that. Lince Dorado versus Hideo Itami. Say that 3 times fast. They start off with a handshake. I love the handshake bit, because it means even though they're not cruiserweight guy versus cruiserweight guy, they're still carrying those respectful archetypes into their matches going forward. I mean, I know they're doing it on Raw. This is the one thing I actually give Raw credit for. They've maintained the structure and the feel of the CWC somewhat, where they have the referee positioned a certain way. They brand everything with the cruiserweight logos. They start with the handshake and all that sort of thing. But it's nice to see that it spills over into something like this, which doesn't so harshly fall under that banner. Nice little touch. Besides, they're both baby faces. I mean, people love luchadors unless they definitely get a reason not to. And Hideo Itami just came back and he's about to face Austin Aries, so obviously he's a face. Handshake, they trade arm locks and hammer locks for a little bit. Snapmare by Dorado, snapmare by Itami. You guys know I love the story. Anything you can do, I can do better. Kicks by Itami. Arm drag and a spin kick by Dorado. Pendulum kick by Dorado, high knee by Itami, running kitchen sink and a kick in the face by Itami, corner uppercuts by Itami, and Dorado drop kicks Itami out of the ring. Second rope moonsault from the apron to the outside by Dorado as we go to what NXT calls a commercial break. We come back and there's a seated armbar by Dorado, and then he follows it up by stomping on the arm. They trade strikes and kicks and a corner chop by Dorado. Tornado hangman and a top rope clothesline by Hideo Itami. Crazy strikes by Itami, high knee strike by Dorado. They trade some pin attempts for a while. There's a shooting star miss by Dorado, because I make myself laugh. Drop kick and a GTS gets the win for Itami. Now Itami has the match going forward to the next pay-per-view, to the next takeover. He's got the match that we all presume is going to happen between himself and Austin Aries, which I am very much looking forward to. So obviously he was going to win. And Lince Dorado is only partially an NXT property, so he doesn't really need to win here, as much as that might sound disrespectful. He's going to go to Raw. Itami's going to be here in NXT, so this is where this is where Itami needs to thrive. It's his home, so to speak. Lince Dorado's home, realistically, is over on Raw. Unlucky for him. So you knew Itami was going to win this match. He's the one with the build. He's the one with the story. But the fact that I knew Itami was going to win didn't take anything away from this match, as a predictable match tends to lose a certain element of intensity and enjoyment. That didn't happen in this match. So my hat's off to both guys. Obviously and predictably, we get a sneak attack and a beatdown and a quick bail by Austin Aries to close the show. So what have we done? We've set the table for the tournament. We've set the table for the women's division. We've set the title for Joe just kicking everybody's ass until they reestablish the main title scene. They've established everything. They've integrated the guys from the CWC in a way that they're also doing on Raw. So there's crossover there. It's a less than 1 hour show. It's a 52-minute show, and they do more than Raw. I've been saying for weeks, while I've been sort of taking a hiatus from NXT, so sorry about that I am Team Blue. But NXT is picking up steam again, which is really, really good. So I'm also Team Yellow. So in some sort of weird, ironic way, I guess I'm Team Green, but I'm definitely never going to wave anything red other than my can of Coke. Oh, yes. Anyways, for those of you that don't know, go back 1 or 2 videos. I do have a fan participation challenge going on, and it's going to last from now until Survivor Series. Book me a Survivor Series main event. Go back to that video for more details on that. There's not really a prize other than the fact that I'm going to give you a shout out and promote your channel. because this channel isn't monetized and I don't really have anything else to give you. But I'm hoping that it's going to be fun in the long run. I do have about 7 or 8 submissions already, including my buddy Angry Mark, who sent in a video response for his submission, which is great. Everybody, I'm just gonna go say it right now. Check out Angry Mark, aka Wrestling with Regret, aka Weston. He's doing some good shit. He deserves more followers than he has. Go check him out. I will say, toss your questions down for the Q&A, but the Q&A will be taped tomorrow, so hopefully I'll get that out to you tomorrow night or Friday morning. Really love doing NXT again. I really have missed doing NXT for the past month. Scheduling shit, it happens. Sorry about that. With it being a 1-hour show, I get to ramble on about so many other things, as you can clearly see. I've been rambling for nearly 25 minutes now. Thank you for listening. I hope you guys are enjoying NXT as much as I have. I should be back on somewhat of a regular schedule now. But as you saw just last night, that could fall apart at any given time. I'm Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys.
You're a freak like me.